Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Zemo, the Dad DPS, and today's video is another episode of The Good, the Scrap, and the Script, a series where I review weapons I've either found or made in Appalachia, and we try and figure out if they're up to snuff. And today's weapon is a fun one. You've heard of the railway rifle? Well, this is the Railum rifle. And today's weapon is a Gauss shotgun with quad ammo capacity, damage limiting, and action point cost. Now, if you don't know, shotguns in general had been nerfed a long while ago. It wasn't an intentional nerf from what I know. They'd basically done something and it made the damage drop off on them really, really high at a very short distance. So you could kill things if you had the gun in their mouth, but if they were like a meter away from you, it just did no damage. So they're back to more what they used to be, and they're a lot better to use, a lot more fun to use, and you can actually, deal DPS when you're not literally standing a fingernail's width from someone's face. So yeah, I'm happy to be testing out this weapon. Now before we get into that, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll show you currently what build we're using. Now, as you can see, these are the perks we're using. A point I would make is that I am using the science perks because this weapon does get buffed by the science perks. So, definitely use them if you're using the Gauss Shotty. But, if you want to get a better look at the build, pause the goddamn video and look at it that way. So, as usual, we are in West Tech. Now, the interesting thing about this weapon is, obviously, that you can charge it. The problem with that being is that the charging version of the weapon, when you charge the weapon, doesn't appear to affect the damage all that much, a lot of the time. As long as you're getting a body shot or, hitting the center of mass, you should get damage in. So you don't even need to really use this weapon in, like, a charging way, which in itself kind of makes it a lot more usable. I feel like charging this just feels like a waste of time a lot of the time you try it. It just feels like you're wasting time. And to be honest, you're better off just spamming the shots, because they do just as much damage, if not more, when you do it. But there is something off about this weapon's damage. If you watch the health bars of enemies, very subtly, or not so subtly depending on how you look at it, you see the health bars rubber band quite frequently. As a result, I think the weapon's damage isn't being calculated properly. And that could be why, when you charge it, you see their health jump back up. Now, whether I'm meant to be one-shotting these enemies, two-shotting them, three-shotting them, it's hard to say. It's very, very hard to say. One thing I can say, though, is that this thing does great amounts of damage, and in some cases, you will absolutely one-shot your enemies, especially if you manage to land those big headshots. But against enemies with small heads, like humanoids and whatnot, then you're better off going for the body shots, because you're going to land more of your shots, which is going to cause more damage. On top of that, the explosion damage is going to also pack a punch as well. Overall, yeah, quite effective at taking down small fry enemies. And with the death of very many super mutants, we're going to head over to Jeff and end his miserable existence. Now, as you can see with the charging of this gun, we're doing a very small amount, but if we just aim for the center of mass and just wail into him, we're doing about the same amount of damage. I just feel like against bigger enemies, this gun is just, yeah, like charging it just feels pointless at times. And again, I don't know if the damage of the weapon is in some way not being calculated properly, but something's definitely off. So far in this video, we've not really spoken about the VATS aspect of it. Now, when it comes to this weapon, you have the advantage that in VATS, you are going to be able to target certain limbs, certain things very easily. And with the fact that this is a shotgun, you are able to cripple those limbs fairly easily as well. This is the main advantage of VATS for you when you're using this. You can cherry pick the limbs you want to take out, and because it's a shotgun, it is going to delimb those enemies very easily. Like literally you're seeing two shots almost guaranteed to cripple a limb. And this is the thing about any shotgun realistically, is that you can use it to cripple things, and because of the reduced AP cost, you're able to land that on more enemies in a more consistent and quick basis. When it comes to someone, or rather something like the Mirelurk Queen, that is an incredibly useful skill, because I can immediately down her like this, and then go to my non-VATS situation and just basically wail on her really quickly, and you're seeing, takes her down pretty quick. Granted, it's not the best damage per shot of every single weapon in the game, but it is very good damage. And especially because this is a quad. This isn't even using Bloodied, this isn't using Juggernauts, it isn't using anti-armor. There's so many different things I could have got on here that would have done superior damage. But I'm able to just spam away those shots if I really want to. And it's going to do a lot of AoE damage during it. So let's talk about this weapon and expeditions. Now, what I'm going to say out flat outright is that the Overgrown are annoying as hell to fight with this weapon. And the main reason for that is just that they like to rush you, like this little dude, and they get behind you, and shotguns being the way they are, you need to be aiming and up close and all that kind of thing. So it's kind of annoying to deal with them. But you can kill them quite effectively. You know, you can just spam your shots and quite actively kill them. But then sometimes that happens where they sneak around and they kind of move in an annoying way. Against the bigger versions, you know, you kind of just have to wail into them as much as you can. But that is what it is. It's not like a big deal when it comes to... You can take them down quite effectively. And you will get your ammo back in spades. But when it comes to the more human of the enemies in here, you are obviously going to have a lot easier a time. Human enemies are the squishiest in the game as far as I'm concerned. Like, literally the squishiest in the game. And if you get the headshots right, you know, sometimes you're taking them down in 2 shots, you're definitely getting your ammo back, and they move a lot slower than the other guys. They also take a lot of time to sit down and aim, and even the melee ones aren't quite as, you know, jump aroundy as the Overgrown melee versions. So yeah, this is going to absolutely slaughter your way through here. You're going to be able to get ammo back, you can get essentially a lot of stuff out of this by just using this. On top of that, you can also use the VAT aspect of it, because as I've said, this weapon can be used as a VATS weapon quite happily because of that AP reduction. And this is the kind of thing, it's a master of everything. Like, you can just absolutely ream into enemies with this gun quite happily, and you're seeing we're taking them down quite effectively with it. So it just depends on what way you want to use it. If you want to use it in VATS, you want to use it out of VATS, you can go about any which way, and it just depends on what takes your fancy. Damage while aiming will yield you more ammo efficiency and more damage, but VATS will certainly mean that your shots hit their target and you will also do more damage. So that is today's weapon. Now, when it comes to the Gauss shotgun, this is not the highest damage version of it you could possibly get. As you've seen, like, this is only quad, so this just means I don't need to reload as often, I can spam shots, I can do lots of different things with it. And that is the advantage of this weapon, is that sometimes spamming the shots is the best way to go, and with that extra damage while aiming, it will work. But if you're against fast, sneaky enemies, you might be better off going to the VAT side of it, and then targeting them that way. It just really depends. The smaller the target, I would recommend you use VATS, but the bigger the target, then you can just spam away, essentially. So it is that kind of weapon where you can use it in different ways to get yourself in and out of situations. And I quite enjoy it. I do quite enjoy it. But what is everybody's thoughts on there? Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you all next time in the wasteland.
Through the dark, moonlight's dimly shining, a shadow creeping. Feel your hearts entwining, a twisted mind, seeking prey to devour. In the dead of the night, he gains more power. His bloodshot eyes, the fire burning within, a predator lurking ready to commit his sin. He moves in silence, you can't hear a sound, chasing shadows, hunting till